Hey there, and welcome to episode 7 of Practice Your Positive Daily, the podcast. Yesterday, if you're with us yesterday, episode 6, I talked about having a growth mindset, believing you can. Having that belief feel like relief, believing you can. So today, we're going to put that to the test. It is tough love today. So it's a tough love day, and we are talking about complaining. You know, here on the Practice Your Positive podcast, I like to be fun and I like to be action oriented. You can read all the books you want, but here we're going to we're going to do the work, we're going to enjoy the work, we're going to choose actions that we can practice day in and day out, one rep at a time, that are going to make us more positive, more open, more connected, engage in our growth as human beings. What more could you want? So, tough love today. Complaining. You know it. Ugh. She said, but I thought, and then the traffic, and then this guy pulled out, right? All those things. You can tell just as soon as someone starts a sentence if it's going to launch into a complaint. Isn't there a certain tone we get when you're just like, I want everyone to know that this thing happened and it was not liked. I did not like it. Complaining, it can be like white noise, but once you tune to it, once you start hearing it and hearing what it is and where it takes us, you will hear it everywhere in big ways and little ways. And again, here we're focused on filling our lives with positive. And so I'm going to touch a little bit in the negative only because it's going to give us some big lessons. And it's a practice, right? It's a habit. It's a habit to complain. You're not a bad person. You're not unlovable or unredeemable or rotten or terrible. Going in some shame and shaming yourself and hating yourself that you're a complainer, it does nothing for you, right? It doesn't make sense. It only makes you feel worse. And so we're not going to go down that road. We're going to go down the road of, why do you complain? Right. So I think we can agree that complaining is a negative action. It's a negative behavior. It's a negative practice. And so we want to let it go. It's a bad habit, like picking off your gel nails. And just like picking off your gel nails, oh, it feels so good. But it does damage things, right? It doesn't set you up in the right direction. When you complain, when I complain, when we complain, really what we're doing is comparing what happened. We're comparing our reality with what we wished would have happened, what we imagined would have happened, what our preferred outcome is. And so in that complaint, in that criticism, there is a judgment. There is a scorekeeping of, I wanted a quick drive to work and I got delayed because of someone else. And so you can see right there that the expectation is that I move through the roads and I have no impediment and I get to go where I want without any restriction. And that's just not reality, right? And so the complaining emphasizes this kind of low level dissatisfaction. I'm going to pause there because I think that's something that we don't think about enough, and that these small behaviors, complaining, blaming, criticizing, we'll talk about more of them, but really it stirs up in us this kind of low level dissatisfaction. And I would submit to you that when we plant those seeds, when we practice that low level dissatisfaction, day after day as a practice, it has a huge impact on our overall mindset. And so here we can go both ways, right? We can work on our mindset and then we can complain less, or we can go in reverse. We can start by the action. We can start by complaining less and seeing how that affects our positive mindset. And okay, so you complain. We're going to work through that. No big deal. Let's practice our positive. And so when we complain, especially about these low to mid-level things, right? I'll be honest, when I complain or when I hear people complain, it's usually not like about global warming or food apartheid or those things, right? It's usually very low level daily frustrations. This didn't turn out. She didn't do that. This was late. And so why? Why do you stir up that dissatisfaction? Get curious. This is where we're going with this. Do you see it? I know. Quick, don't turn off the episode. You heard me. No backsies. So why and when do you complain? And it's very possible that the complaint is really just a misdirected attention seeking behavior. So maybe you're using it to bond with someone. You have this habit, I know back in the day, I used to have girlfriends, and boy, there was nothing like getting together and complaining about our male partners, right? That was kind of the currency we traded in. And so complaining was like our language. It's how we bonded. Not right, but that's what I used it for. Or maybe you're complaining, or maybe I'm complaining to be funny. I love to crack a joke. And sometimes we use, complaints as a way to be funny, to be social, to bridge a gap, to lighten the mood. You might be using it because, hey, you just want a little sympathy, right? Maybe you had that kind of day and you're just looking for a little sympathy, a little love, a little attention. And so when we think about why we do things, we can see what that need is. Remember last week we talked about identifying our needs and then meeting them. So next time, this is the assignment for today. This is the assignment. Here we go. Clock yourself for today. Clock yourself on when you complain, how often, what kind of topics, what people you complain with, what if there are triggers. Look at when you complain, who you complain and why, and see if you can't get to the deeper need. See if you can't get to, I want some sympathy. I'm feeling lonely and I want someone to show they care, or I'm uncomfortable in social situations and complaining lets me talk without being vulnerable. Think about why you're complaining, okay? And then hit the pause button. I know, right? We're going to think about it, but remember, we're action oriented. And so as you complain, whether it's in your mind and hasn't left your mouth yet, or it left your mouth, or it's just somewhere in your heart, check in on that complaint. What is the true need? And then pause. Just don't let it out of your mouth, right? Just don't. Just start wherever it is. Pull that weed as early as you can. And so if in your heart you feel that complaint, that dissatisfaction, let it go, right? If it's on the tip of your tongue, don't let it come out of your mouth. If it comes out of your mouth, retract it, or just keep moving, right? And so that's the thing. Clock yourself when you complain. Let it be a useful tool. Let it share its insights with you. Just like as we exercise, right? If I'm reaching for something, if I put more weights on my bar and I can't lift that bar, all it means is I haven't practiced it yet. All it means is that I'm not strong enough yet. All it means is that I haven't done enough reps to get myself there. That's all the complaining means. It's a pattern of habit that you can break, and you're going to start by being aware of it. So that's it. I'm going to say that the Practice Your Positive Weekly, the blog, is now out. And so please go over to Medium at Sass Schaefer. Check me out there. It's really my intention to put this positivity on as many channels as I can to get this out. And so thank you. I will see you in episode 8.